streaming fiend today. I'm kind of excited about it. By the way, I prefer streaming because it's a lot less editing or anything like that. It's just like, here we are, let's go.
It's just that, when I have like legendary, like I did Scott Walter and completely like the whole first part of the interview, I got just him on the screen. And I was like, Frank, and then, cause I was just fascinated watching him. Right. But as
Right.
I'm doing this interview, so I went back and re-edited it and put it back up with him on there. Was just adorable. Like the stuff he's going to be bringing. I mean, I had to stop a couple times because I'm like, you would have gotten burned at the stake for saying that, Scott, like a few years ago. And and he's got like, and what after he leaves this conference, he's going to get even more information on this, and it's one of these things that the Vatican now has their grips on. Man, you learn like the Da Vinci Code's a real thing, man. Like the Vatican's got agents and they're doing stuff and they're stealing things, and the Knights Templars, and there's like all this intrigue. Man, it's a crazy world. So
It
okay.
really is, yeah.
So
Okay,
everybody,
yeah.
I don't know if everybody on Nikki's channel knows this or people on my channel, but Nikki and I have been friends for a while, and she's invited me. She has like really cool expeditions that sell out really quickly because she's awesome. She does a really good job at putting them together. If I can get on that Japan one, I'm really looking at my schedule.
Yeah, we're gonna launch that at the end of this week, the Japan one. So I totally want you to come. It's gonna be awesome.
So what's your dates on that? I mean,
So if it's 2 weeks, but the main part is 7 days, and then you can do an add-on to Tokyo or an add-on to Okinawa on either end. And so if you did the whole thing, it's the 8th through the 22nd of March of 2027. But if you just wanted to do the main megalithic part, Okinawa has megaliths too, and Okinawa is the most star forts of anywhere in concentration. So it's like this tiny little island that it's like 1/3 military, which is suspicious in itself. It's close to Yonaguni, and there's all these weird magnetic anomalies. But they have like I don't know how many. Like they're not even completely recorded. But we went to at least 20 different star forts, and most of them aren't even like officially registered. They're just like abandoned ruins. So we're going to do a star fort tour of Okinawa, Japan, which is super like ancient megalithic star fort, which is just like, I can't even begin to tell you how cool that is. And then the main other part is near Osaka, and that's going to be the 12th through the 19th of March.
Okay, like this is all I can do these days. Okay. If I forget, put me down. I am doing this, okay? But
okay.
And I'm going to do the add-on things too. And I'm going to look up the people there doing the thing to grow a tooth because I need a tooth. So I'm going to see if
Okay. So we're ending in Tokyo, and you can stay a little longer in Tokyo, which, I plan to stay a little longer in Tokyo too. But yeah, cool. Yeah, the Japanese have some really cool health stuff too. Like you can get every mole removed for like, I don't know, $1 a mole or something. And they have just crazy cool stuff. So,
okay. So let me just, for the uninitiated, because I always like to start at ground level, especially with like Issa will just like go over everybody's head. I'm like, okay, well, let's ground it. But okay, star forts. I know. Let's not assume everybody knows what a star fort is. Star forts are these.
The star forts they're like from an aerial view, they're shaped like a star. They're all over the world. Like they have them there's one in New Mexico. It's like a 4-point star fort. They're at like Fort Pickens, and like they're all over Florida. They're all over the U.S. They're all over Europe. The Statue of Liberty is technically on top of a star fort. So they never have in history books tell us what they're for. Like they'll say like, oh, they're for strategic military things, but they're all over Italy. They're all over the world. They're like, if you really get into a lot of Tartarian people are claiming them as like part of the old, like some washed away civilization thing. I don't know if it is that or not, but actually the word Tartaria to me is just like, okay, that's a known like civilization that existed outside of Russia. But like if we want to talk
it's echoing. If you can hear me right now. Okay. Yeah, yours is like echoing kind of funny right now at the moment. I don't know what's going on. You want to try the headphones and see if that helps? I don't know, but may not. It's still going. Ba 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 ba. Wow. Okay. Let's try. Let's turn your microphone off and we'll turn it back on. Okay. I'm going to unmute you now. I don't know if you hear that. It's like going ba 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 ba. You know, if you can hear me at your end, turn your microphone off and back on and see what happens. Okay, it's so strange. Like, do you think you would bust your feed if you went out and came back in? I could. But, okay, when I mute you, it stops. Like, I'm sure you can't hear this. It's going dack 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 dack. Okay, I can't. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what anybody else is. They're hearing it too. DJ Scratch. Everybody else is hearing it. It's like a glitch going. Okay. So I've got you muted at the moment because otherwise it's going bap 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 bap. Can you maybe try going out and coming back in, and then make sure you're connected to your people? Okay, and then we'll vamp for a minute. Okay, talk. Okay, so we're gonna let Nikki do that. I'm gonna. Let's see. Okay. All right. So, star forts. The other thing about star forts, I mean, for one thing, global. How interesting is that, right? And the other thing is, the geometry of those. And one thing that I've learned is like there's some Freemasons that, they'll talk about stuff if you know it. But one of the things I've noticed that gives them indigestion is when I bring up sacred geometry. I think it's their secret little thing. Because I started, working with other researchers who have been studying it and measuring. You can actually measure the energies of temples now, which is something that I'm going to be doing when I go to Italy at the end of September to Da Monher, the underground temple that's there. And the people that I know, Dr. Lydia de Leon and Arturo Ponce de Leon, they wrote a book called The Power of Sacred Location, and they've said that it's like a temple. It's like works like a temple, and they've gone all over the world. And even temples that are broken and destroyed, there's still energies there. And this isn't like your mom's crystal kind of energy. This is like stuff you can scientifically measure. Okay, here we go. Let's see what happens. Okay. Okay. Let's. Okay. I'm gonna unmute you. You're muted, I think. Okay. Unmute. I'm still not. Okay. I'm trying to unmute you, but it's not. Can't unmute your guest. Your mic is not connected. Your mic is not connected. It says. See. Okay. Yesterday I was supposed to do a live thing with Sean Bond, and his power went out. Right? So we're rescheduled for another day. We're going to do it Friday. Yeah, your microphone is now not working. It will not let me unmute you. Your guest, you cannot unmute your guest. The mic is not connected. Okay, well, she's going to be back. So we are getting a bit of trouble here because your mic is on. I'm going to add you to the stage. And can we hear you?
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yay! I have a little bit of an echo, so I'm going to put my headphones on, which is what the thing told me to do.
Okay.
Anyway, yes. So, all right, you guys.
I've been going on about star forts while you were gone because they're such a mystery, and they're discovering more of them all the time from, satellites and stuff. And the fact that they're worldwide, and I was bringing up the fact that the geometry, I don't know how much of a fort they are. I think they're more of a geometric thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like there's what's really amazing about star forts is no two ones are alike. They're like fingerprints. And so like some are 4 points, 5 points, 6 points, 12 points, like Saxy Woman is technically a star point, a star fort. If you like look at the if you look at the aerial view of Saxy Woman, um, it's it's like so it is like one of the design elements of like a former civilization that we have lost that we don't really understand what's going on with, and so yeah, there and like some of them are just the footprints. Some of them have been built on. A lot of them are reappropriated into other things, and maybe a lot of them really are reappropriated into actual start like forts themselves.
Okay,
But I mean,
I want to mention why I have Nikki coming to my freaking conference because this is a woman who carries around like a bag, of course, for samples and things for jobs. I mean, how many friends do you have that do that, right? And the kind of the people that gravitate to her, very higher vibration people. It's a very pleasant experience. It's not like tours where you kind of get a random bunch of people and then you've always got a couple that, if you never saw them again, it would be way too soon. None of those kind of people.
the rather nots. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the thing is I first met at Cosmic Summit and we just kept bumping into each other and then chatting for 2 hours, and it was like that was kind of like my coming out conference because Praveen Mohan's like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet, right?" Um, and you were very helpful at the time. You had a very well trained AI that helped us figure out a little bit of stuff. Um,
Yeah. Now that AI is, it's no longer working the same way. They turned it into Wikipedia. So
Anyway, when this conference came about, and I was like, "Oh my God, I think I have a conference," and Nikki's like, "Hey, I have a spreadsheet. Like, I know how to like do this because I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing here, right?" And so one of the very first people, other than JP, who like accidentally made it happen. Oh, that's Trevor Miller, checking in.
nice.
Yeah, also known as Trevor Hawk. Uh, okay. I'm getting 17 questions. I got to tell him I'm on a live stream, everybody. So excuse me for a minute because I'm setting up. I want to do a recording with him. He's won't be available for the conference. He's going to be at the University of Arizona or something with doing some kind of scientific stuff on these artifacts. And so okay, I've got to tell him I'm on a live stream at the moment.
All
Okay.
right.
Anyway, so one thing you learn, this is no comment on him or anything else, but when you get into some of these areas of science, this is happening with the labyrinth right now in Egypt too. There gets to be like these dramas going on between people, right? And I'm all
Mhm.
about let's get the information out, let's talk, and not about whose personality is where or whatever. And Trevor is just like a very uh, like he originally was like an intern, I think, with Nassim Harman. And there was like a room where the artifacts were, and nobody went in there. And he was like, "What's this stuff?" Right? And they didn't have time to deal with it, so he started working with it, and he's been on it ever since. And it's like the worst thing you can work on if you're a scientist, if you want to have credibility. So anyway, he can't make it, but he's done a lot of the latest science, and so yeah, okay, he got the memo. So we'll chat later with him. Um,
Okay, cool.
anyway, Nikki was like, you know, look, we can do this. And the thing that made it a little more possible was the fact that, like, I own the place, right? So it's not like I got to make a deposit for a ballroom and whatever. And because this is out of nowhere, it was only a couple months ago this started coming together, and we're
Yeah, you
uh,
did it really, really quick. And in the midst of finishing a brilliant book, he just finished, like, you guys, we're going to do an interview dedicated solely to his book, but it's just like, I'm like, wow, I know this guy. Yes, Cracking Open Reality. Like, buy this on Amazon. It's like, you won't regret it. Like, Frank Reich writes in such a way that you actually want to turn the next like you actually want to finish it. It's not a chore. It's not going to put you to sleep. Like, this thing's hard to put down. It's amazing. And he just goes over from, like, he just breaks down like how we've been basically amnesified to the level in which we have, and like how that's actually come about. And like that, yeah, like this has been one of my favorite books that I've read in the last like 5 years. It's been great.
aw. Well, okay. Well, thank you. I mean, 'cause one of my biggest worries was that my friends like you that are very awake to what's going on, would kind of feel like, they kind of know all this stuff, but I was trying to make a journey so that when you got to the end, because I'm introducing this new knowledge structure that is up for I'm patent pending at this point. I have a year to finish. I have to make a real thing, right, to make it to finish it. And I still don't know what, because I can make it as an app. I can do it as a 2D thing, but I'm thinking I'm going to go right for something, a real simplified task for it in augmented reality. So you can walk inside the knowledge structure and do one or two things just to show that it works. Because you don't have to go from DOS to Windows XP for the patent. You just have to be able to execute something to make it real. And so far,
Mm.
the first step, I was kind of worried that, because I mean, I had to write the whole thing from scratch, and I didn't have a budget for it, and it was a lot of math, which is like not my thing. And so thank God I was pitting AIs against each other. Calculate this, and then you calculate it, and then you check this one's work, and then you check this, and then uh, so the bulk. What I tried to do is take people on a journey through everything, starting from our senses to the beginning of civilization, how knowledge is handled, to demonstrate that we're basically in a cage, we're in a control system, and that
Yeah.
by the time we get to the end of it, um, they, well, in the first part of the book, I talk about what a revelation it was to find out about these ancient languages and how I wouldn't have needed to write this book if we still had those ancient languages, because it made our brains work differently, and nobody even realizes that we're thinking in these really simplified terms: yes, no, right, wrong, debunked, true, whatever, and everything gets pushed aside that doesn't fit there. And
Yeah,
but it,
and like if you go into that a little bit, I just think it's like, when I was in Japan, they have three alphabets. They have like the one that's almost like how our alphabet is, where it's like phonetically spelling out the way a word sounds. Then they have ancient characters, and then they have another like something in between the two. And like think about hieroglyphs with like Egyptians, or even cuneiform with the little weird like almost like binary code. Like people at some point thought about like written language differently than we currently do in our way. It's not just phonetically how you sound something. It's also like there was like pictorial meaning, which like opens your brain in a completely different way. It's almost like they were speaking math.
I'm making sure I don't ignore the comments here, um,
Mm,
because one thing that I want to make sure, because I'm really excited at the conference to be my own speaker at my own conference to talk about this book, because it'll give the first chance to kind of articulate it in short form, not using 700 pages, but
right.
also there's so much more. Everybody's bringing something that they haven't seen before, and I haven't actually talked about you, because you have a lot of things you can bring to it, along with the roundtable discussions about things like, you know, other bubbles of reality and inner Earth and things like that. But also, I was wondering if you might be interested in talking about this book that you're planning on writing about nubs, because you've done a lot of research on nubs.
Yeah. And it's actually not just nubs. It's like that's my favorite, one of my favorite features. But there exists, and I've already got a booklet written, so I can always like use this as a presentation and things. But so far I've been able to identify like 56 different features that are found globally, that are cross-referenced, that they're like we were global before they're telling us we were global. Okay. Like there are things like the knobs that are nubs that they find and you find nubs in Egypt on the Mankuru pyramid. You find them all over Peru. You find them in Turkey. You find like I've actually never been to a place yet that doesn't have a nub.
I mean, Easter
And
Island.
people
I
Easter,
mean,
yeah,
not
like oh
not
yeah, I
in
mean
Japan, but also
they're in Japan, they're in, I mean, they were all over Turkey. They're like the thing is like you're
Stonehenge.
like, well, what is
Stonehenge has nubs.
Stonehenge has? Yeah, you think like, okay, well, what are nubs? What are nubs? It's just like a weird little knobby protrusion off of a stone, and they can be on pillars, on stadium seats. They could be on the bedrock. Like they're very bizarre. And then people say, well, they were for lifting. That's the conventional. Um, it's like what they conventionally were saying that they were for. But if they were for that, then like take it off the damn thing when you're done building it. It's like it's it's like not like it's aesthetic. Like there was some sort of functionality towards them. But then there's so many other features I have. Like there's like there's pinch holes, there's mortarless, it's all mortarless, and they're polygonally fit. And then like there's super pitted holes. There's doors that lead nowhere. Like there's incised motifs. There's keyholes, there's scrape marks, there's scoop marks, there's all these things. And every single one of these features, I can give examples of them cross culturally in places they shouldn't be. I recently like gave this kind of, okay, I was telling a group of friends, I gave a little presentation about this temple I went to in India, Kalisa, and they were like, I was showing some of like these features, and they're like, well, it's just like the 100th monkey effect. Like once somebody learned how to use the wheel, then we all learned how to use the wheel. But something like a knob on a beautiful building, that's not like, oh, I yawn to you, my cross cultural reference of putting weird markings on buildings. Like there's something more to this, guys. It's like they were speaking, they were communicating, they were trading, we were global before they're telling us we were global. And it's not just like, oh, we weren't seeing fairy. Like there's evidence in stone. And
Well,
I'm super passionate about it, and I love it. So I'll teach you
I
about
have
it.
another level of this for you is that we're going to have like, I don't know if we'll get Emery to talk about it. We'll get JP to talk about it. But JP's been to other places, right?
Mm,
And so if you've got your little directory of nubs, right? I would love to have you run them past him and go, have you seen any of these in the ancient ark on the moon? Or what about the one, on Mars, right? I mean,
interesting. Yeah.
he's been to the rings of Saturn, but that was on a ship, though. But some of these ships in some of these places he's been, they're like he's not an Egyptologist, but he can tell you what it looks like, right? Because it looks like hieroglyphics or whatever. And that's kind of what I love about JP is that he's not a fiction writer, right? He's a dude. He's a soldier, And so when he's telling you this stuff,
Yeah.
he didn't make it up because and lately he's been able to use AI like to try to show us exactly like what the Ant King looked like in person, right? Which I was shocked because on we had him on and he was showing off his phone some of the work he was doing, and they're much more insect-like than I would have thought,
Mm,
human.
yeah.
Okay, so are you gonna?
And I definitely have been to Inner Earth, touched it just a second. I mean, I've had some
Well,
portal
so the fact that
things as well.
we've got you and JP that have been there, like this is like what I'm looking for this conference is that a way to get people with corroborating information and experiences to compare them. Like I think I've told this before. I was in a restaurant with JP and I was talking to him about getting together the handbags because he's got the pine cone that a Nordic being gave him. There's another video that we talk about this. There's a couple of videos we talk about this that he had a Nordic being give him a pine cone, and I was showing him one of the handbags, and on the side of it looked like the dude in the Shape of Water. That's the aqua kind of, which is a friend of mine. Doug
Mm.
Jones played that, a friend of mine. He's a tall, skinny guy who doesn't complain about big rubber suits on, so he gets to do all those movies. Anyway, JP stands up and goes, "Yeah, man, those dudes are like this tall. They're really big, which is it's just so JP, But to have the other thing is like he's been to these under ocean places where the domes are over them and the
Mm.
huge amount of pressure, and there's like in Star Trek they have transparent aluminum, right? It's this hard thing. It's you see. I also had a Knights Templar through I was confused on something. I thought it was a invisible barrier, somebody smashing it and it broke, and found out it was this stuff in an ancient tomb, which seems like the Knights Templars know about this stuff and the Vatican knows about it, but we don't get to know about it. But he said it was similar. He said it was completely impervious, but you could see it move a little bit, right? And this is like way under the ocean. And then I've also heard that the personalities on these like kind of like humanoid kind of fish people they're not real uh, articulate or communicative. Anyway, so let me just get back to this is what I'm looking for
Mm.
at Disclosure in Mackinaw is to kind of get these people that have been and had these very unusual, very unique experiences. These things that sound like something out of a fantasy novel or something that people think is made up, and be able to kind of get these data points together and be able to, because I've had the wonderful experience of being sitting around the table with people like this and have them chat and go, God, people would love to hear this. So
Yeah.
along with the presentation, there's that, and then we'll be doing. We're going to be in a gorgeous place with bonfires. We'll be able to get together at night. We're all kind of like in this campground, which is a very big campground. If you don't want to see somebody, 200 acres, you can go some other place, right? And then we
Yeah.
also, adjoining properties. But there's a mile of shoreline on the Straits of Mackinaw, and if you can't make it, we will be live streaming the entire thing, and then probably like Cosmic Summit does is like afterwards we'll edit it and then make it available in pieces because
Mm.
because so you don't have a bunch of any
You don't
dead
want the
space,
time space that's out. Yeah.
and you can
But
buy.
so real quick, tell us about the dates. It's the 31st of August, 1st and 2nd of September. So it's coming up less than a month. It's in Mackinac Island, which is pretty
No, it's not.
difficult to get to.
No, Mackinac Island is. We look at Mackinac
Oh,
Island. That's Mackinac Island doesn't allow any motor vehicles, and it's a
okay.
state historic park. And so we face it. We're on the mainland. That's why we have cars and campground and
Okay,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, but Mackinac City, Mackinac Island, Michigan's like a hand, right? So it's the very tip of the mitt, Mackinac. And if you can remember,
It's the middle finger.
yeah, if
Yeah.
you remember, like my name, you put my name conference or Mortals of Earth conference, it should come up in the Googles, like the search
Yeah.
ranking. It's
I
showing
put
up.
it in the description of this. There's a discount code if you want to do that for the
Oh,
online thing.
go ahead and give them.
I put just Nikki Anna is my discount code if you guys want to use that. But then if you just go to Mortals of Earth and you can find all the things there. And it's like it's not going to be super huge. So this is like a great one to go to because you're going to get like really good access to all of us and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, with
And then
this
he's
level.
got like those goggles too tell him about the goggles for the
Oh, well, okay.
CE5.
So two things about that. I mean, okay, so number one though, okay, she's right about the this is not a big conference. This is the first year, and the level of the speakers we have is like off the hook. I mean, you would have usually a conference like this would have thousands of people. It would be like a really big conference. It'd be very expensive, right? And
Yeah.
so,
And it's just because he did it last minute. That's why it doesn't have as many people. But
well, that and I mean, everybody's going, my God, if you do this, it's going to be the biggest conference. If you do that, keep doing this. But it's also because conferences, you got to, if you're staying in a hotel, it gets expensive, and flying in can be expensive. So if you can drive here and camp, we've got 25 different kinds of campsites, everything from like $30 a night up to $100 a night if you want to be on the lake with a full hookup or whatever. Also, cabins and house rentals and motels. And so you can kind of pick what you want. And we're going to give you 2 meals a day. You'll have your like a continental breakfast, maybe a little bit more than a continental breakfast, and then a dinner. And in the middle of the day, we're going to, we'll start right after breakfast, and then we'll take a break in the middle of the day because you're in this gorgeous place. You don't, who wants to be in a conference in this
right in a
beautiful place?
classroom. Yeah.
Yeah, so get out and you go walk and swim in the lake, or go take a nap, or go have a pizza at the park store, or go hang out with somebody that you met there, or go do a singing bowl thing with one of the people that are bringing interesting cool stuff, right?
Hmm.
So, but yeah, the big feature is we're we have a secret location, and we just did a test the other night, which was kind of off the hook, where we're going to do a sky watch with JP. Now, JP's done this for like 1,000 people in the middle of a city, and had stuff happen. I've done it for 3 people the other night. It was like about 8 people, and it. Okay, so I like to have do like a native ceremony where people aren't drinking alcohol for like 48 hours. So we're bringing in adaptogenic drinks, so you can still have a buzz, and still be
Right.
social, or you want to focus or whatever. You have your pick of all these things you can drink without alcohol, because alcohol, it lowers your vibration. And and like Native Americans, this is in my book as well, because I went out and wanted to learn what was going on with alcohol, why it's
Mm.
completely through all of our society, all of our rituals, even in our religions. And it's just as the book was coming out, it was like, oh, it's a revelation. Oh, it's a poison. In any level, it's poisonous, right? The more you drink, the faster you die, the more it degrades your organs and a lot of other things. So, yeah,
Yeah.
the other, I kind of was joking because my cousin had brought his wife from Panama, and he was like the cousin that I grew up with, like an extra brother. We were always really close, but I had not met his wife, and they've been together 14 years, and so she was here finally. And I mean, I go all over the world, and I haven't been to see him in Panama yet, so shame on me. But she was so sweet, right?
Yeah,
And
she
I,
seemed really sweet. Yeah.
yeah, so I said, do
Oh,
you want to
Tiffany.
go see some spaceships? And she goes, oh, I don't know. I said, okay, well, okay, number one, we can't be nervous about it. If you don't trust me,
Yeah, the fear keeps it away more than anything.
so, and then we had just had a family reunion. That's why they were here. So the reunion was over, but there was a few people here, and so they got together at a restaurant locally. And so I just leaned over the table. I said, "Okay, we're gonna go look at spaceships tonight. If you guys want to come." And I mean, that's basically like Harry Potter sticking his head in a classroom of Muggles and saying this, right? And I mean, they're my relatives and they love me, but they that's Uncle Frank. He's different, right? So I did not expect that two of my brothers show up with their significant others, and one showed up with a brother-in-law in the family, and they get out of the car and they got beers, and I'm like, okay, let me explain something. I normally would rather not, but whatever, we'll do it anyway.
May do for the test run. Well, hey, if it worked on that, it'll work when with these folks
Oh my
who
God, Nikki, it was like, okay, so at first I'm thinking, because here's the thing. In order to pull this conference off, I really needed my brothers on board. And I'm telling them, because they don't know Scott Walter, they don't know Emery Smith, they don't know, they're taking it on well, one of them has started watching videos and goes, Frank says he knows this guy. I guess, and then when I heard that, I was like, all right, I was with Randall Carlson. Let's send him a picture to my brother so he knows that I know you, and so that now they've gotten a bit of because he started watching YouTube videos now and he's kind of paying attention. But I'm still his oldest brother. You know how that is. So they show up. We get out there, and one thing we learned was we have to not have the sprinklers going off because it's a golf course. Like shh. And so we had to get the dry spot, but the sky is huge, and and I'm thinking, okay, they've had beers, they're kind of they're not really high vibration. I'm working on them, right? So, but I said, like, I just said, turned to them, I said, look, you came all the way out here, it's dark, play along, okay? You guys know how to do something right. Just listen to what I say and play along. So I had them do a breathing thing, and we hummed together. We gave an intention out, and at first we get a few satellites, and then we get things that look like they're going way too fast as satellites, and then we get things that are flashing by, and then at one point the entire sky was undulating like plasma, and I don't know how to describe it to you just with your eyes. And it was a huge portion of the sky. And I was like, okay, that's good. I was hoping, because I've had it before where you get a star that kind of goes like this and then makes a right hand turn and goes. I was hoping for that, but this was really awesome. And the one thing that Vicky was saying is like, you have to tell everybody. You may not realize it, but when you start seeing this, you can get a fight or flight. You can really trigger you. So I gave them all a breathing technique to use, and I heard them using it a couple times, which was good, and everything stayed really cool. Anyway, so
yeah,
we're
and
gonna
if you really don't like if you really have fear, it I don't know, it doesn't want to scare you. It doesn't want to come, So it's like I remember I've done some CE5s with people who ultimately really were scared to see something, and that's a completely different ball game when that happens. You don't see nearly as much. Hello, Isha. Yeah, Isha's going to be coming. It's okay. So I know Frank has to leave in like 5 minutes because he's got to go pick up somebody. But so let's just give us a 5-minute
boom, boom, boom. This is why you should come.
Okay, well, Issa's like there's a good reason right there. Like Issa's been looking it up because the thing is like there's been so many weird synchronicities with this coming together, and part of it is that Mackinac Island. I only learned about a year ago that used to be Epstein Island before they used Epstein Island, which means a lot of dark stuff went on there, and
Yeah, like a
so
Bohemian Grove kind of thing.
yes. And what happens? They take these energetic places that are very powerful. Mackinac Island was the Native Americans' most powerful sacred place, and it wasn't just one of the. It was all of the different tribes, and the tribes are very different. They don't necessarily get along, and they're very competitive or whatever. But Mackinac Island was their most sacred place, and it was like their Garden of Eden, and the place has a vibe like that. So
Mhm.
that's what these dark parasitic elites use when they do their kind of they do their rituals and their spells, and they feed off of it. And he says like a few other people have basically they're not using it right now, and but it's been kind of the coherence of it has been damaged, and
Yeah.
so my gut feeling, and Issa too, is like we're bringing these people together. We're going to
Open it back up or
yeah, and I don't know how to explain that to somebody that's not doesn't understand what we're talking about with these earth energies and these places and these portal energy places, but it's really important because the stuff that comes through them, it affects the entire planet, and
well,
it's
it's,
connected.
I mean, it's grid work or light work, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, sometimes like the darkest places need the most light, right? And when some place has been like polluted or used for the wrong, that's how I even feel about eclipses. Like there's an eclipse coming up in a couple of days, like on the 12th of August. And I've kind of heard other people talk about it, and I've also got the intuitive hit, especially the one in Egypt next year. It's going to be the longest one of our lifetimes. But I kind of feel like there is a force that there's a manipulating force on our planet that knows how to harness the dark in some kind of way that it can be used against us or using us as fuel, but we can reverse that and we can use it for light, and it doesn't have to be that way. And like you with your just with intention, you don't even have to know what you're doing, just with like good intention and like really just being like your pure self, you can really do a lot of undoing, which is, I think part of that too. I mean, there's a reason that I think you were positioned in this place and you didn't even know about it.
Well, so just today I came across one of these. Okay, there's a lot of these dull boy podcasters that are online
I love
personalities
that.
that they have huge audiences, and
Yeah.
I spent years like I have like really hardworking, amazing, brilliant friends, and to get them attention. I was just talking to Scott about this too, but he was looking for his own work, and one of my editors, the JPL scientist, he's an expert on 7 different crazy different fields, and couldn't find any of his work online, and there's a reason for, I mean, that's what my book came out of is how
Yeah.
information is controlled and how we're not allowed to know is because what Nikki is just saying, we are very, very powerful. And if these guys, if we find out, they're screwed, right? And that's part of what this conference is about is us learning how to take back our agency, how to use that, how we're connected to the divine spark. We don't need a mullah, we don't need a priest, we don't need a
Right.
reverend, we need something
No
to
middleman.
yeah, and being able to reconnect with that gives us our power, our agency, and allows us to make this realm what it really needs to be and stop being fed off of. And the very first part of my book, I gave them
Exactly.
a limited, like if you take the electromagnetic spectrum, I did this for my family reunion. I gave them a graphic of it, and you can't even draw a slice thin enough to show how tiny it is what we see,
Yeah.
right? And then I showed all the other animals that can see, heat, infrasound, infrared, ultraviolet, all the things that we can't see, and even things beyond that that we're blind to. And it's done on purpose. We were blinded. We were downgraded genetically. This is what Sean is excited about talking. We're going to talk about this on Friday. Is how our genetics have been used against us,
Hmm.
but how we can correct that and what the smoking gun of that is that we were manipulated and it wasn't an accident. It wasn't natural. Um,
No.
so,
And I mean, I do think there are a lot. less people than we actually think maybe on the planet, or definitely a lot less people who are in their fully present bodies. But it's amazing how one person present within their own self, in their own sovereignty, like how much actual power they have. It's just really cool to see actually. And then and we don't have to like buy the story of whatever they're trying to use, whatever they're for. So yeah, I think the more of us come together, the more we help activate like these grid or nodal points or whatever that help like turn on the world to bring magic back more like it needs to be.
Well, so yes, so part of my book I talk about the secret is kind of only part of it. It's a tiny part, and there are some things that are very half understood. Like the word faith is it to me is a disinformation word because it's not faith, it's knowing, right? But like Nikki
Mhm.
was saying, when you sit in your own power, you become powerful. When you have others, you create a field. And that's why the control system is trying to make this overall, oh, we have to have climate change. Oh, we have to give this up. Oh, we can't have this food. Oh, we have to have
Mhm.
poisonous, in our air, but it's basically uh, when you have parasites that are feeding off of
Yeah,
misery,
very
pain,
parasitic.
and all that stuff, it benefits them to stay behind the scenes and not be seen because when enough of us know about it, they're just toast, man. One of us who understands our power, is could take out a legion of them. You imagine you get a few of us together, the power of that. And I'm not okay. Let me talk to you where I got this from is that my military insiders that we've got creatures that by the time they're hatched or born or whatever, they're taught these psionic abilities, and they're not
Mhm.
blinded the way we are. But they said that one of their soldiers that's psionically activated is worth a legion of them. So we're
Oh,
walking
cool.
around like with superpowers, and we just have to have them reawakened.
Yeah, and we have to like help support each other um in that process because the world is so good at beating us down. So the more of us that get together that are open-minded, like I think we can really start elevating each other and amplifying each other's own superpowers.
So the thing about this is there are scientific proofs of it because it all sounds like woo woo or like talking about my mom's crystals and whatever, right?
Which are cool.
Hey mom, she's cool, and we all love her, but and she's levied, but the, that's part of what I did in the book too is I gave these things that seem like everybody looks past them. Like the placebo effect is way more
Yeah.
amazing than you think it is, right? And then even like the Maharishi effect, which is like this thing that it gets beyond anecdotal when you can recreate it and when you can replicate it. Which that's another thing with science is that science has been completely polluted and corrupted by this replication crisis. It's just like medicine is. Medicine is the third leading cause of death is physician prescribed care, right? And it's not because
Mm,
physicians are bad. It's just like this is the avenue they've been. If they go off that road, they lose their license.
right.
Anyway, so the people that are coming to this conference are dropping stuff. Like you're going to see stuff from Trevor Grassi that no one has seen. You're going to see stuff from me that's no one's seen. And then Nikki, I'm hoping you'll drop some of this information from this.
Yeah, I'm creating a really good presentation that like you all have never seen. It's gonna be good.
And Scott Walter is bringing a very popular man from the Middle East handwriting saying something along the line that he's only half human, right?
Oh wow.
And yeah, and this is and I mean Emery Smith is everybody knows him as the alien guy, guy who dissects aliens.
Right.
Emery Smith, when you're in his presence, like, well, okay, so we don't know virtually the guy has everybody coming at him. He's got the number one show on Gaia Network. Everybody wants him for everything, and he's going to be with us one way or another. But he has an entire line of stuff, and you have to be careful when you talk about this stuff nowadays because we're so controlled. But
Mhm.
it's a whole nother level of uh, okay. So your hippie mom, she could see talk about auras, right?
Yep.
we now can photograph them. We now can measure them.
Yeah, we know they're real. We know we have energetic fields. It's real.
And so, like, I started way back in the 70s doing Kirlian photography back in the day. And now it's branched out to where we can digitally measure, see, and we can see effects too. When I was first seeing the biocell thing, I had a friend, it was in Germany doing it while the biocell was there with me. And then, like, I can do the remote healing stuff myself, but he was doing it on me. And then we redid
Mm.
it, and you could see the effect and the change of it. Um, Emory has a similar technology where if you've got a telescope and you see a star, like let's say you've got a telescope in space and it's seeing something so far away no one's ever seen it before, and it's in a galaxy really far away, and you could say, oh, it's got this much oxygen, or it's like Earth, or it's got this kind of climate. How do they do that? Well, it's all light spectrums, right?
Yeah.
He has a technology where he does this with a photograph. And I mean, you don't want to be wearing like ear pods. You don't want to be holding a dog, right? But you get a photograph and you need to see your, I had to take my glasses off or whatever, because he did this for me, right? And I got a 30-page report of, and it's, was a little
Like
terrifying.
of like where you're from or what?
No, of like every single thing in my body, like, how it was functioning,
Oh, like what's going
and
on?
things,
Yeah, it's
things
like a I don't know, some sort of energetic scan.
and it was like down to like the level of how each organ was performing, what things were good and bad, and a few quite scary things that we're dealing with. Because he also, he also has mitigating technologies for dealing with that stuff, which that's a good way of saying it without getting into trouble. I guess mitigating technologies.
Yeah.
So I've been after him because I don't want to try to. It's like talking about the Hawara labyrinth when you know like way more than you're supposed to say, and I'm like, okay, can I say this? Can I say this? Right? So what can I say?
That's Frank's life, by the way. He knows too many amazing things that he's not allowed to say publicly.
Yeah, it's like what I was Trevor just sent me a note before this. He goes, "Remember, don't talk about this." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, I don't. I won't talk about that." Okay. So,
Uh,
well,
okay, but you got to go. Actually, you're 5 minutes past due.
well, I no, I can. The flight comes in at. I mean, it's up to you, but the flight comes in at 7. So if I leave by 6:30, I'll be okay. So that means I could go another 40 minutes if you're up for it. Okay, because you know me. I mean, I could talk, but
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, but the disclosure in Mackinaw, if you can't attend, in person, like I said, I went through 2 days of tutorials so I could pull off getting the live.
Getting the live. Do you have the link for the live? Just
Yeah, well, it's going to be when you pay for it, you'll get an email, right? And then you'll click on that.
and so you can sign up for it now at
Yeah,
mortalsoferarth.com.
yeah. There's two buttons. One is for the conference, and one is for the virtual. And if you do the virtual, remember Nikiana is your coupon code. You'll get 10% off. Okay, and we can it's going to be. I kept the price of the conference really low, like way too low, because we're serving 2 meals along with the conference too.
Wow, wow, that's pretty
So,
good.
but I know that there's a lot of people that it might not be convenient for or whatever, and you can be anywhere on Earth, and this will be available and accessible. And then I will, like, right after the conference, I've got to go to England and then Italy and then you know maybe Egypt with Trevor and then maybe Japan with you. So there's a lot going on, and I don't really have an editor yet to help me edit everything. Maybe somebody out there will help
Right.
me, edit this down. I guess I've got somebody in mind, but um, along with all of this, let me just mention that both Trevor and I are really good friends with Filippo Biondi, who's doing these scans, which are real, which are showing us real things. And one of the reasons he's not doing anything in Egypt that we're at least talking about right now is because he can't actually show the results that are there. So, going to start doing other places, right?
Okay, yeah, like because I mean, there's a lot. You really could do a lot in Central America.
Well, so and they're not as tough to deal with as Egypt is too.
Right.
And they're actually kind of great because they have a lot of stuff that's just getting eaten by the jungle or getting
Yep.
destroyed. Like Piedras Negras is like you go there and it's just every pile is like something else that hasn't been excavated, and it's a huge site. And then that there's a cenote there that is like a big dry hole that's like a Grand Canyon
That's
size,
cool.
that you it's almost impenetrable, but now with like gear you can get down in there. And Trevor's already like got guys that will get us gear to get, because he's going, I'm going. I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah, here we go.
but I'd like, I mentioned
Yeah,
this.
so then it's like if you can prove proof of concept, if you can find something amazing anywhere in whatever, like Central America, South America, and then you can go and actually figure it out and do it, like then it makes Egypt that much more crazy.
Yeah, so it makes, well, it adds pressure to them to, because I mean the Sphinx. So Trevor and I both went to Italy to the press conference, and actually, my family reunion, I had to show the clip of me getting introduced at the start of this press conference. I said I could not believe I had the front row seat, and they introduced me like in front of 1,000 people. But it's because there's so much disinformation out there. They're grateful for somebody that understands it and can articulate it to an English speaking audience. Because I mean, these Italians, they're they're excited about Danny, that is a friend of ours, of Trevor and ours, that's helping us with the Spanish translation. They're
Mm.
excited about having it in other languages, but there's Corrado Malanga just like has purposely not translated stuff to English because he doesn't want the trouble, right? But
Right.
you go there, and that those 1,000 people were there to see him. I mean, Filippo was not the main story for them. And then when they were showing they had at least a dozen different technologies they put through this, like a mesh, uh, a 3D meshing, and then they also used AI. And the AI, they gave it no prompting other than, here's the data. What do you think it is, right? And 97%. Oh, that looks just like a sphinx. So that's a megalithic structure. That's it. And so there's the last time they did the conference, it took a month for it to come out. By then, there was so much disinformation on the internet that now it's just so polluted. If you go to look for it, it's hard to find anything that's real. So we were like, I wanted before I left to have it translated, but it was a lot to bite off, because
Yeah.
Corrado's stuff. It basically, that conference was his life's work, kind of. I mean, actually, I know more about some of his
And
other.
you did do the whole thing though, right? Like on your site, you can see that Frank has translated the whole thing, the whole conference.
Well, he had his main assistant, Roberto, well, like because we did an AI translation, but there's like Sakara, like AI just didn't get it right, right? So he went through it and physically checked all of the translations and all the SRT files and got them back to us, and then we got a artificial voice to voice it all. And Trevor took all the slides and translated those and then reinserted them so they would be in English, right? And that's what we're doing right now in Spanish. We're redoing all the slides. Danny's doing them all into Spanish. And again, we'll have to have Corrado's people look at it because he's a very serious academic there. I mean, a serious academic in Italy who has a test that can tell whether you've been abducted and messed with, right? This is like,
Wow.
this
Okay.
is the level of stuff that's why his assistant goes, well, he doesn't want to die. That's why he doesn't translate it to English, right? Um,
Right.
he also has a program for people that have been abducted because he knows that they've had traumas, and he's got therapies to help them deal with deep traumas that become part of the morphogenic field, even though they don't remember it, to help them draw it back out. I mean, they're like next level. I mean, the, and it wasn't something I would have had a sense for if I hadn't gone there. So I'm uh, just really
And did
excited.
he scan you?
Well, I I we I was this was just like when I got handed the alien skull in Mexico. I was not ready. I didn't realize what was going on. I'm just like freaking out at the time, and then afterwards I'm going, you have 1,000 more questions and things you wanted to do, right? But I'm on very good terms with the whole team there, and actually there's not much of a mystery with me anyway, so it wasn't like I needed any confirmation. But I, I I I I know that Trevor is actually got a list going on his site of places, right? and
Mhm.
some of these are at risk. And some of the things at the conference we're going to show you are things that nobody really knows about yet. No one's talking about. A lot of times, what you see us showing, not just me, mostly Trevor, is uh, amazing and groundbreaking. But it's like, look over here, don't look over here.
Yeah, and let's go into Trevor for a minute. So Trevor Grassi is like he's like the real Indiana Jones. Like we all like wear the hat and like take the pictures in front of the place like, "Oh, this is Palenque." It's like already an excavated site. Trevor's like, I mean, it's like the Pirates of the Caribbean meets Indiana Jones meets, you know, some sort of scientist that's like he really is like a genuine, wholehearted dude who like actually gets stuff done.
Well,
Like,
so
yeah.
he, he he's also like a walking library too. He There's this weird thing
Yeah.
around John Anthony West because John Anthony West was the guy who kind of got everybody looking at all these ancient sites in a whole different way. And there's a tour guide who's just his hair's on fire that nobody's paying attention to him. So he's just trying to cut down everybody he's so jealous of anything the funny thing is like well, it's not just Trevor. I mean, between the two of us, we have so many things. It's like we're not like a one note, you know. Uh, we've got a lot of things we can talk about, and they're oh, okay. No, I don't have to leave yet. I can leave. I have more time. Okay. Um,
Snooze.
they're really threatened, right? I'm leaning
I know.
closer because people are having a hard time hearing me, um, which is okay. So you can hear me fine. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, it literally like I've got to be careful what I think of because I was thinking, God, if I just had some time and then COVID happened and I had a bunch of time, but I still didn't get caught up. There is so much in the ancient world, like just what Nikki and I were talking about earlier with the, in Japan and the star forts. You get out of the country and like I over a couple hundred miles in Mexico finding artifacts in both those places, which are really different, really unusual. Very few humans on them. Looks like when you walk into the cantina in Star Wars, all the different beings,
Mhm.
and then it makes you wonder like what's going on there. That some of them look like they were taken right out of sci-fi. I mean,
Yeah.
even like the clothing and things. Um, but the people we have coming to the conference, it's like no joke, interacting with extraterrestrials. There are trade agreements being made right now. Like, I don't know what is more important right now on Earth than us starting to understand that we're part of this larger community. It's not just galactic, it's also interdimensional, it's also inner Earth, it's also it's a spiritual battle, and we're about ready to, the cage is there, and we'll show you the door. If you want to go out, it's up to you. You know.
Yeah, and I mean, I keep on more and more of this as time goes on. I keep on realizing we're also in a timeline war. Like and things are basically popping into our reality for a reason, and I'm not exactly sure the reason, but things are popping off now because it's showtime, it's go time. Like there's something for real. And I always think about I just got like about an hour ago I had another live stream with a girl who was doing like the stone chambers in Northeast America, and they're so similar to all these other places. And she found a metal. She was saying that she found a metal artifact that she can't identify. She doesn't even know how to describe or what it is. I need to talk to her again, and I want to get to see what it is. But it's like we there's so many more discoveries happening right now, and it's just like they're completely out of context or we don't even know where to put them or how to think of them because it's not at all what we've been ever or taught to do, but I think us in particular must have been ground zero for some sort of destruction, and that's why we have either that or it was just super systematically destroyed to where even more of it is hidden than normal. But yeah, that there are still so many crazy things being discovered every day. I thought we had discovered everything, and it's just like not the case, which is awesome.
Yeah. So, speaking of that, one of the things that's going to be at the conference, we're going to have a pop-up museum.
Oh yeah, he's gonna have all his artifacts.
Yeah, and so these are not just things that like so I bought on eBay or something, right? But we've actually been, and I always want to say like don't do this because it's really dangerous. And I just had a lot of angels and guardians, and like Anthony Mickle. Well, could it be even safer than it was? He gets a little excited, but I always said just rent a really shitty rental car, get something that's dented up, and we ended up with this shiny, beautiful car that we had to hide because you go into these really poor towns and everybody knows you're from out of town. And the leading industry there is ransom, so you don't want to become, kidnapped because
Right.
you're looking for
That's
the guy with that's got all the teeth, that somebody might pay some money for. And
yeah.
but the thing that has happened, because I've been to the site that you were at now two more times, and I won't say that we didn't have a Disneyland experience once, but I'm telling you, the other times we didn't. It was like we broke into things that were very ancient, and this is something that I have to talk about with Trevor because we've got a lot of footage, like from the first shovel going underneath and then seeing that there's an artificial chamber that was built and then finding these ritual objects that don't seem to be from one time period. It's almost if they, like I'm thinking about like ancient Egypt when they were finding stuff from the Old Kingdom prior to Old Kingdom, and they would prize them and put them together, and so things end up getting out of context. Or Ramses puts his name on it, and you know uh, the academics think that Ramses actually made it or whatever.
Right, right.
And uh,
Appropriated or
I think that they knew that this area was a sacred area for some reason, or it had come down as being that, and they would put offerings there because you will just find these caches of things just piled, like 12, 15 things
yeah.
at a time.
And oddly enough, like we're talking about a place in Mexico near Tula that we went to. And like we did a little archaeological dig there. And then also there are existing structures that are probably like 200 years old that they're all buried under. So there's like timelines that are like mixed matched. And somebody has a question here, like Scotty's, which is really good. It says, do you think technology is exposing these timelines?
So this is something that has been. I'm glad that's a good question. Okay, the Boogosphere has a relationship to these Mexican artifacts. There are
Mm.
symbols on it. Actually, let me show one. I got one on my table here. I got a couple that show it. Actually, got one up here too. That graphic, it's something that when you see it, it looks like a circuit board. You're
Yeah.
used. It looks familiar to us, but yet it's not
And
really.
there's got to be a way for you guys to mimic that circuitry on something and in the exact patterning and see if it does some sort of functionality.
Okay, let's see if I get some light on here. Here we go. Okay, there we go. All right, so this was in a cup, and you can see the kind of Buga circuit board pattern there.
Hmm.
And this is something Isa was having. This is an interesting component too. She was having dreams, and then for years, and she made it her symbol. And then these objects started coming out of the ground with these symbols on them. And the Boogosphere appears. I don't know about it 2 years ago, maybe now, with
Yeah.
particular thing actually has Boogosphere uh, crescent moons on it, which this is also on the Boogosphere. And I've got another one too that.
Me and Frank got to see the Boogosphere together, by the way. So we were like, hi, next to it.
So this one, that's another one. You can see it's got that pattern on it, right? I think there's something in this. I have to have this X-rayed because it's very heavy and very unusual, and it's came with.
Yeah, it almost looks like it's holding something in it.
So okay, we're talking about temporal elements, right? So the Boogosphere appears, and people were finding these. They thought well they hadn't seen them before, but then one of the guys that Anthony had introduced me to, his father-in-law passed away, and there was a cabinet in his house that no one had been into for 40 years. And when they opened it up, there was an artifact in there that had the Buga pattern on it, and that
Mm.
will be coming to disclosure at Mackinaw. So I did have something that kind of interrupted that timeline of the Buga. Here's this is another. This is like a bowl thing,
Oh, cool.
and then at the bottom of it, it's got.
Some more circuitry.
Yeah. So, and another revelation that's happened with these, this is the people that want to call these fake and debunk them and everything. The thing that bugs them is that they're like shiny, they're smooth, right? You're not used to an artifact being like, I don't know if you can see the shine on it, being smooth, because we're used to things in antiquity getting pitted and destroyed. But what some of the recent research we're going to be presenting at the conference is about what this is. This isn't really what it looks. It's not carved out of stone. There you can see the shine on it. It's actually a
Polymer.
artificial, yeah, polymer,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's very difficult to make, but it's impervious to heat, cold. Also, it doesn't let moisture penetrate, and lichens won't grow on it. So it keeps the finish like this for
That's interesting.
yeah. So if you wanted to make okay, if you're because what happened was sit up and argue with AI at night, right? And I'm like, okay, I know there's going to be a cataclysm, and I want to save human knowledge because I don't want us to have to start over again. What stone could I get? Oh yeah, by the way, surprise! Inside there's this little guy.
Little dude.
Yeah, he's like riding in there. So what stone would be the best? Or what I use, what these are being found to be, which is aluminum silicate. And it said, oh, aluminum silicate, for all the reasons I just said, right? Because also it will hold fine lines in it, because all of these, have this all over it.
That's
And
pretty interesting.
What's interesting too is like, because Issa like sees these, and Scott Walter was saying the same thing too, because the one thing that happens with Anthony Michael, Scott Walter, Mark Russell, all of us are saying like we got to get all these symbols and make an index and see what we can figure out.
Yeah, I've been saying like you got to catalog that in AI and see if it can come up with a language.
Well, so Muhammad Ibrahim, I watched discover right in front of me the meaning of a hieroglyph, because people think that hieroglyphs were all figured out from the Rosetta Stone, and that we know what they all mean, but we don't know what they all mean. But the way that you can now determine ones that are unknown, like there's one like a starman. Have you seen the starman? It's
The one with the
he's got wings.
helmet. Oh,
He might have a helmet on. He's got wings, and he kind of it's very could be a superhero, right? It's at Abydos, but he's never been figured out. But in Abydos, going down to the Osirian, in the corner, I witnessed Noha, his wife, noticed something that she had seen in another context that had not been solved. And from the way they do is like what's around it is known, then you can figure out what it means, right? So this is a whole subject for a video. This one translated to the sound of the pyramid, which is like, whom doesn't make a sound, right?
wow.
So what I was coming to with this is because Mark Russell was talking about, could do kind of spreadsheet thing, like have all the symbols.
Yeah.
And I said, but the context makes a difference, because if you've got symbols and then they're around other, graphically because there's a lot of very pictorial kind of graphics of planets and beings and things on these, right? And so that's all part of the message too. But Issa thinks that they're like an algorithm, because she found the same thing that Scott Walter said. Scott Walter looked through 5,000 and none of them matched. So, not like there's an A, B,
Interesting. Yeah.
vowels, or whatever. So,
No.
and then Issa, she's like an intuitive physicist, right? And she was doing I think I could talk about this. Okay, I think if I could talk about this. Issa, are you there? Like, I talk about.
Yeah, she'll if you can't, she'll say stop.
Okay, unless she says it's okay, I won't. But let's just say that she sees things in a way that looks like these things.
Well, and she's able to almost like translate it into frequencies, translate it into music or tones.
Yeah. So, which I didn't like. I know her really well. She's a really good friend. But it wasn't until she sent me this. Okay, I won't talk about it. But okay, that I realized what you're saying is really true. I mean, it looked like the stuff that we're seeing on these artifacts, and it wasn't like. I mean, you can't just go over and start drawing stuff and have it be. Look, it just has a feel in it. Like there was an impact. It made me think things. It was like I,
Like a
like
rival where you're learning the circle backwards like language.
yeah, uh, it was like when the idea for my book came to me, and it was all of a sudden it was this picture, and I could see the whole thing, and I knew how it worked. But then when I went to explain it, it was
Yeah.
hard, you know.
It's like packets of information are sometimes hard to lineate into our language. I mean, like anytime I've talked with a being telepathically and I've gotten like big downloads, it's kind of hard to then be like, well, I guess they're gonna say this and then this, begot that, begot that. It doesn't work that way. So it's hard.
That's a really good point. Okay, let me just somebody else's name who I can't say, who's a very famous scientist. Was I was talking to him about cell phones, and I said, "What is this doing to the processing of the human brain if we know it's very susceptible to things like the blue screen flicker and all these other things? If people are staring, for one thing, staring this far away from their face all the time, and then
Mm.
whatever else is coming." And then Emery was said, he said, "Well, you don't have to worry about programming as long as you don't watch TV, have a look at these screens, or listen to a radio, or like all the stuff that we do, right?"
Right.
Like he was being facetious. Well, so he said, "Well, when you deal with these other beings that have not been tamped down and they're talking to you telepathically, it's like a lot of stuff coming, right?" And he said it's a on purpose evolution of our processing power. That it was the first positive thing I've heard, right? Having to do with us all staring at screens. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that that made me feel a little bit better about it, right? So anyway, all right. So I probably should get going to the airport.
Okay, yep, you're past due.
Yeah, we'll
But,
wrap it up.
yeah, so then let's do like a quick 2-minute wrap up. You guys, if you can't make it live to, Disclosure Mackinaw, then which is a conference that I'm gonna be speaking at, and there's a bunch of other cool speakers. If you can't do yeah, August 31st, September 1st, September 2nd. It's in the middle of the week. There's camping or hotel kind of situation for all. So anything in your price range. It's like a very inexpensive conference. It's very cool. If you can't do that, then there is going to be a live stream, and then the discount code is Nikiana and Nikiana. Um, Go to mortalsoferarth.com and that you can click on like what option you want to do. Uh, it's all stuff like I don't yeah I just have I interview people, right? So this is like a time where I actually get to present. So like I know more than I ask questions about. So it would be fun for me to show a lot of you guys that. So I think tune in whichever way you can and have fun.
Well, those of you who watch her that are from her channel, kind of the depth, because you watch how when she's talking and what she knows, and I've had a little more time with her to know even more. I'm really excited about being able to bring you forward on the stage. And
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to the interaction between everybody. There's so much that energetically is like I am not in control of here, that this is just happening, so I'm not taking any credit for any of this. Okay, it's just I'm just trying to keep the avalanche from overtaking me. But if the one thing I will also mention is that we have a lot of interference,
Yeah.
like we got cut off with Sean Bond the other day. I know that there was I was going to mention this earlier. One of these dull boy podcasters that has like hundreds of thousands or millions of views just admitted that he had sold his soul. I mean, this is not a joke, And all of a sudden, money was in his bank account. He had a bunch of viewers because you watch some of these guys, you're going,
You're like, what?
like, what's this dumbass got like all these numbers for? Why is he so in this beautiful thing with getting these incredible guests and stuff, right? There is, it's widely acknowledged now how much our news and our popular culture and the mainstream narrative is controlled, but also
Mhm.
the internet too. So if you have friends or people that you know of or people in your family that are interested, let them know about this conference, let them know about the live stream. The people that are coming are very serious and about telling you things that are not known yet. And so we are kind of fighting at the edges to be seen and to get the information out. But we're going to do it. And I just wanted to mention that because you tend to think that when you see things on the internet that this stuff just rolls or it's really easy, but no, it takes a lot of effort and it takes everybody talking and interacting. And the one thing we do have going for us is we do have connections with each other and the internet and friends that we can connect with. So thank you, Nikki.
Totally agree.
I know you had a long day, and I appreciate you hanging with me, and I'm gonna have to apologize to people I left waiting at the airport because I got really excited about talking.
Okay, go get him at the airport. We'll talk again soon before this is all done. All right. Bye, Frank.